Welcome to TruPowur, home of the most powerful marketing tools, training, and technology on planet Earth. Get ready to earn, enjoy, and experience more than you ever dreamed was possible. If you're tired of just getting by and ready to really thrive, then buckle in and listen up. Here's your host, Matt Fox.
So in today's training, we are going to be covering several things, starting with the quick launch menu, then into the CRM and dialer pricing platform and the utility audit. So let's go ahead and jump right into the quick launch menu, which everybody should have by now. It is available at agent.trupower.com. Up there in the command line. And I always try to encourage people that if once you've loaded this page, if you right click on this tab and click pin, then you can see it shrunk down over there to the left so that the next time you open your Chrome browser, it'll automatically be there. You won't have to retype it in. It'll be ready for you each time you open your browser. From here, you can access just about everything other than your email client in Thunderbird and or your Grasshopper if you are going to be using that for general communications. Otherwise, you don't need Grasshopper in order to work within the CRM. So a couple of things we have added. All of the main categories that you're going to deal with on a day-to-day basis over on the left-hand side, and it's color-coded, starting with, hang on one second here. There we go. All right. So starting at the top, you have the CRM and dialer access. The next button is where you're going to submit your audits. The commercial pricing platform, which is the back office or dashboard, as we may know it. And then, of course, the front of the platform, which is facing the public, which is at TruPowur.com. Average electric prices nationwide. If you have a customer that is not sure what their rate is, you can see what an average rate is. We'll use that in a moment. Request for customer leads for your CRM. So if you're approaching the end of your list or you're wanting to target some other areas, then that is where you would request support to add those customers into your database. And then, of course, the customer appreciation and marketing gifts. We have that available as well. On the right-hand side are going to be a little bit more of support related, such as some of the PDF tools, ESID searches. You know, if you're having issues with connectivity, you can check the speed of your computer and internet, make sure everything is running correctly. Past Zoom trainings, the corporate website, the resources page for the utility audit, and then, of course, the Zoom launch meeting, which we are on currently. So starting right at the top, let's go right into the CRM. So all you need to do is click on CRM, and that will pull up your CRM and dialer at TruPowur.pro. Once you log in, you're going to see this screen, and it is going to give you just a high-level overview of where you are in your marketing efforts currently. And so, but up at the top here, we have several buttons, and most of you may have gotten an email the other day where we had added some extra videos into the platform for you to review. And so when you have a chance, go over to videos. And there is a place that we're working on for the TruPowur Academy, where we're going to have extra onboarding and training efforts that are going to be available there. There is a full overview of the CRM, which is in video format there. Some extra videos that we have added into the price or into the pricing platform to kind of move you along. So we've taken some of those videos and put them here for your review, which we'll use here in a moment. And then, of course, holidays. So if any of you are doing any kind of courtesy marketing, you have all of the holidays. Currently, we have Memorial Day. And so if you wanted to download that and use it on any of your social media, you certainly can.
Today is the last Monday of May, and for Americans, this day holds a particularly profound meaning. It's the day that we remember those in our armed forces for whom have lost their lives and recognize their ultimate sacrifice and dedication to this country. This video won't promote a sale, a discount, or a grand opening. We simply wanted our customers to know that, much like you, we see the red, the white, and the blue. We know that we're here serving you in large part because of the sacrifices made by the brave men and women of the armed forces. So on this Memorial Day, we stand by you and honor those who've given us so much. Today, we remember. Thank you all for your patronage.
So you've got a whole list of all the holidays. Those are pre-made for you, so you can download those and use those on any of your social media if you desire. Back up here at the top under Documents, you've got the different categories where you're going to have support documents. We used to have the Dropbox that you could pull that information from. This makes it much easier. It's right in the platform where you're working on a daily basis. And so you're going to have information that is very important to you in all of these different categories. So if you're looking for something, this is a good place to start. Anywhere from the solar, the audit, even some of the helpful training and helpful information. So if you click on Zoom trainings, there is a historical list of all the past trainings. So you can click on any one of these links and watch back on previous trainings. I would tell you that if you hold down your control key when you click on that, then it'll open up a new tab rather than taking you away from where you are right now, so you don't lose this page. So that's going to be very helpful to you when you need at that extra support or documentation. So between the documents and the video, there's a lot of good information there. So when you first log into the CRM, the first thing that you're going to want to do is come over here to Leads, click on My Leads, and then you will have a list of different options. So if you have several different databases in different states, or different categories based on how you have resulted those customers, you're going to be able to file through that rather quickly. But once you click on it, you can start making your calls, and it's pretty straightforward. I think most of you have already been through this, so we'll be quick about it. But once it pulls the customer's information up, obviously you're going to have, down here, it's going to typically show what their utility expenses are. You're going to have the customer's company name, address, phone number. And so when you get that customer's email, you need to be sure and enter it in here so that you can send them an email. Next to it, you do have the scripts for the audit, commercial electric, residential electric, and the solar script. So making calls is pretty simple. All you need to do is click this green dial button. Once you do that, it is going to pull up the dial pad and dial the customer for you. Once it starts dialing and it makes a connection, you will see down here that it says Matt Fox drop. I'm going to hang up. If that went to voicemail, then you would be able to, there it is trying to call me. If it went to voicemail, once you notice that, oh, this is going to be a voicemail, then you can click that voicemail drop, and then it will disconnect the call, wait in the background, and then leave the pre-recorded message with your information, your phone number, extension, and so forth, so the customer can call you back. When they call you back, you'll see a pop-up on your screen over here where you can click it, and it will pull the customer's information up and answer the call. Once you have clicked the voicemail drop, or hang up, you're going to have the call outcome. So on this one, I can click on that I left a voicemail drop. And so that is going to result the call, and it will also add that information into my notes. If I am on a call with a customer, it's going to record the call, so you can always go back and listen to your conversation. So if you do need to pull any pertinent information out of the call that you might have missed, that's certainly a good way to go back and retrieve that information. Once we have that customer's email address and we are ready to send them a request for audit, then we want to just simply click on the little yellow icon. It is going to open up the quick email client. And from here, you have several templates. You've got the utility audit first request, the second request, which is a reminder. And then you have both the first and second in Spanish, and then some follow-up emails as well. But once you click on that template, it is going to import the customer's name into the document. It is going to take and put all of your pertinent information in the signature, and all of the emails are tracked. So when this customer, once I click down here and click send and send this to the customer, then when that customer opens that email, you'll see a pop-up that will appear over here on the right-hand side of the screen. Let's see if that has come in yet. So we'll give that just a second. So once that customer has opened that email, it is going to send you a notification on the screen, which is going to allow you to click on that and obviously call that customer back. There it is. So let's go over here and open the email and then go back over here. And in just a moment, you'll see a pop-up come over here on the screen. There it is. So you can see that the customer has opened up the email and is viewing it. So this is the perfect time. You can just click on this and it is going to pull that customer's information up and give you an opportunity to call that customer, ask them if they've had a chance to review the information or if they've read the email yet. So anything that this customer does, the system is going to automatically report back to you. Now, we have changed the way that the email used to say, click reply and attach a copy of the utility bill. But we have actually changed that so that when a customer clicks, they can click here and then submit a copy themselves, because they are probably going to have a lot more information available to them about their company that you may or may not have. And so this is going to afford them an opportunity to be able to add additional information. Plus, when they fill out this form and submit their utility bill, according to the email, they're going to put in your name and email address. They're going to put in their information down here and some information about the company. And then, of course, they're going to be attaching a copy of the electric bill. Now, the other thing to note is this is their first opportunity to be exposed to a lot of the other cost centers. So that's going to hopefully raise a question or provide additional insight to the customer without having to go back later and follow up necessarily, and let them know that there are additional cost centers that can potentially increase the amount of their refund. So if they look at this, they're like, oh, wow, I didn't know they do natural gas. I've got that. I've got water and sewer. I've got waste removal. I've got telecom and wireless. Maybe I've got payroll and 401ks and workers' comp policy premium, health insurance. So they could add all of these bills, and that's going to increase the potential of a much higher outcome on the utility audit. So, so far with agents using this method, we've had this up for about 2-3 days. So a lot of people or customers that would normally maybe have to figure out how do I attach it to my email and send it back and all of that, much easier to just go ahead and click here, submit, attach, and it exposes them to the other cost centers as well. So if we go back to our CRM, you can see that time is dwindling. So we want to try and get those people before 5 minutes has elapsed when they have opened that email. So that is pretty straightforward. And then, of course, once you have resulted this call, or whatever you have done with the call, then you want to make sure that you come up here and change the status. So if you are in progress where you have sent the first email, then you want to change the status. So you'll want to go in there and change that and then click save, so that when you're wanting to follow up on all first emails, then when you go back to here and open it up, you'll see another category that'll show all of the first emails that were sent out. So it's a way for you to not only categorize all of your follow-ups, but it'll make your life a whole lot easier in keeping track of what's going on. So I think that's going to be really, really helpful for you. Okay. Well, let's go back over to the agenda here. And so the pricing platform. Okay. So when you have there's two sides to the pricing platform. So this is going to go to the back side, which is all your commercial, and this is going to go to the front. So if you look down in the bottom left-hand corner of my screen, you may see the URL down over here, right over the little support tab. So you'll see that this goes to TruPowur This goes to TruPowur.com. Well, the back office is just the backside of the front of the platform. So when you click on the front of the platform, it is going to take you to what the public sees, right? Because they don't have your login credentials, and please don't give it out. But when they go to TruPowur.com, this is what they're going to be confronted with. And so you can do they can do residential or commercial electric and natural gas. For you and I, we do all of our residential through the front of the platform. Don't put residential in the back. That's all for commercial. But if you come up here to where it says sales code, and you put in your sales code, whatever that is, which is the same as your extension, which is the same as most of your logins and usernames and everything else, your 3-digit agent or broker code. And so once you put that in, it will remember it from then on. But if this is not in here, when you enter a customer into the system, you're not going to see it in your back office. So please make sure that you do that. And the process is pretty simple. Just put in the zip code of the customer, hit get rates, and it is going to pull up all of the rates that are available for the customer in that particular area. Now you can see it shows the supplier, the rate, and the term, but there is no savings. So until you put in what the customer is currently paying in KWH, you're not going to see that savings column. If the customer does not know what they're paying for their electric, go over here to the electric prices, and you can look up the state. So right here, I have Texas. And so you have residential and commercial. Well, we're looking at residential right now. So let's go down here and pick up Texas residential, which is an average of 11.49. So now if I put that in here and then hit requote, it is going to update the platform. So now that I can see a savings column, right? So that means that if this customer was paying on or about 11.5 cents based on current rates today, we would be able to lower this customer to 5.9, saving them about $90, $95 a month. Obviously, I like to be general when I'm talking about savings, just because it is going to fluctuate. So I don't try and get into it's going to save you exactly $91.67 every month, because that's not true. But it does give you an idea of the approximate savings that that customer is going to have. Now, in the front of the platform, it shows savings based on per month. In the back office, which we'll go to in a moment, it is going to show savings based on contractual. So you want to make sure that you remember that when you're talking to a customer in the front of the platform, when you're talking about savings for residential, it's always going to show what their savings looks like per month. So customer says, that's fantastic, let's do it. You simply click the sign up button. It is going to ask for this top field is going to be a little different depending on state to state that you are acquiring customers. So in Texas, I put in a zip code that was Texas. It's just going to ask for the authorized user. It's optional. And so I usually just put their name in there again. So if I put in Matt Fox, then I would obviously come down, put Matt and then Fox, and then the service address where the electric is being served. And then if their billing happened to, maybe their bills go to a PO box, then you've got a place to put that as well. Then you want to put their mobile number and their landline. If they don't have a landline, then just put the mobile number in both locations along with their email address, and then select whether it's a house or an apartment. And once you click next, it is going to take you to a verification page, which is just going to show you both addresses side by side. And a lot of times it's going to add the +4 to the zip code, or it may change it. So if I spelled out 123 Main Street and I spelled out street, the required might be, or the suggested might be ST period. So with that +4 on the zip code. So I would just go ahead and accept it. Once you've done that, then it will take you to a page to go ahead and, after you've reviewed that information, and hit submit to complete the order on our side. But you will have to tell the customer to open their email or their text, and the system is going to send them a link that they need to click. Once they click that link, then the system will verify the order. In other words, if you and I are putting this customer's information into the system is recognizing that the IP address for your computer does not belong to this customer. But when the customer clicks that link, it reads the IP, that IP address is attached to the billing address. So if they have any issues with that, very rare does that happen, but you may want to ask them if they're on a VPN, then just disable it for a moment so that can verify it. But that's very, very rare.
Matt.
Yes, sir.
Hi, sorry. I've got a question about that. A lot of people may be working from home. Do you think that would pose any problems?
No, because this is residential. This is their home.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Good question. So once that is done, then all of the information that was entered is going to end up back here in your back office. So when you go over here to TruPowurBackoffice.com, it's going to show up over here, and you're going to see the contract number that is internal to TruPowur. That has not to do anything to do with their contract with the supplier. This is an internal contract number so that we can keep track of who is what, when, and where internally, much easier. And so you're going to have these three columns are not editable, or you can't change it, but you're going to have the contract number, the customer's name, the status of that customer, and then over here you're going to have a list of things available, and you can change this. So you can change the sorting, you can move the columns around. So if you want this column over here, you can certainly change all of that. You can go into here and look at all of the different available options as to what you want to see, what you don't want to see. And then you can actually, once you've created how you want it to look, then you can save it as a custom lookup table. And so when you hit apply and go over here to the drop down, you will see that I created one called training. And so if I star that, every time, all you got to do is just click the star, and then that makes it the default. So, but you can select whatever you want from here. These are going to already be made for you. And then whichever one you click on the star, so every time you log in, that's the way it's going to look. So if you create a custom look and you star it, that when you log in, that's the way it's going to look. So you have that available as well. Up at the top here, which is really, really important, you know, when you are looking at a moment when you are desiring to get additional customers added to your CRM, then I would suggest that you do a couple of things. One is to come over here to the market updates, and every day the system does analytics on all of the territories nationwide and creates a report that you can view in your back office. So let me jump over here. So let's go over here to market updates. So I can see, and it's been that way for a little while now, but if I'm looking, this is going to be commercial matrix rates that are lower than the utility rate, which means those markets are below market. And so that's a great opportunity to take advantage of that. So I've seen that difference between 9 and 11 cents. Question? No? Okay. So you want to make sure that you check this, because these are going to be the areas where you can provide customers the greatest amount of value. Anytime that you see that the rates are below market, that's an excellent opportunity to take advantage of it. So just think of it like if it was the, you know, the stock exchange, and all of a sudden you had an insight that would tell you when you could get a hold of a stock that was going to be lower than anybody else can get it. So that's a huge benefit. So although you can still do analytics by hand for the customer, the system is going to do it and creates this market report on a daily basis so that you can go through and look at what markets are going to be most favorable for you and the customer, as well as for natural gas, for residential electric and natural gas. And then of course, where, you know, from time to time, you may see this down here to where it will show markets where the customers have received competitive bids. And so that's been in Massachusetts and Ohio. So those are things to note as well. So anytime that we've had some pretty aggressive pricing in the reverse auction tool or the quote RFP, we want to make sure and post that as well. So I would, if I were you, I would look at this on the daily basis, and that is right here under market updates. So once you've determined what you want, then all you need to do is go over here, click on this orange button to request some customers be added to your CRM. So you're going to put your name, email, and extension. So, you know, and then what state? Well, I want Connecticut and I want commercial. So I put in my name, my email, hit submit, and then support will, when they add that to your CRM, then they will send you an email letting you know what they have added. And then when you go back into your CRM, you will see another tab when you pull up your lead. So you'll see different drop downs here, or you can certainly go over here to where it says lead source and then select the other state that was added for you. So you can pull up the different states that are available for you. Does that make sense? Good. So that is the front of the platform and part of the back of the platform. When you log into the back office, other than the market updates, this is where we do all of our commercial deals, right? And so there's two ways to add a commercial customer. You can add the customer's information first and then get pricing, which I would much prefer. And especially if you've gotten the utility audit already, you already have the electric bill and the information you need. So just go ahead and add that as a new customer. If you don't, and you're working with a customer and you're doing some quoting, you can certainly click on Instant Quote. And from here, all you need to do is put in their zip code, how much usage they have, and select your mills. And so once you've done that, and be sure to put in however much that customer is currently paying and hit search to update the platform. It is now going to give you the 3 best overall plans and what that rate is, what the savings is. Now that's the total savings based on 60 months. You can see this has a term of fixed all in 60 months. That's excellent. And then it shows if you decided to go with an upfront commission, what would that look like? Or if you went with the residual income, what would that look like? And that's going to be more relevant for the brokers, more so than the agents. So you can scroll through and see all of the available plans and how much the savings is. Now, when you do an instant quote, it does give you the ability to email the plans to the customer, which is basically just going to take a snapshot of this screen and email it to the customer. Now, you can do this yourself. So pull up a list and then click on this and then put in your name and hit send, just so that you can see what it looks like when a customer gets it. It will show the supplier, the rate, the savings. It will not show the commission, and it will not show a sign up button because this is a snapshot and these rates are going to only be good until 5 o'clock today. So when that market closes, then it is subject to change. So if you do a deal at 9 o'clock at night, it may be subject to change the next business day. So just be aware of that. There might be a slight difference in the rate, unless that is a custom quote that the supplier has given. Now, right now we can see that there are 46 plans showing. If I come over here to the filter terms and I select all, then I can see that there are 97 plans total, but I don't need all of that. And I certainly don't want to send that all to the customer. So I may select none and come down and select 60 month. Let's see, how many is that? That gives me 4. Let's see, 59 is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that's good right there. So That's about 12. So you really don't need much more than that. You've got at least 3, 4 different suppliers available there. And so I might even take a couple of these out just to reduce that down a little bit. And so now when you email this to the customer, it's going to look exactly the way you have this set up. So just bear in mind, however you have sorted this is what they're going to see when you email that to the customer. So go ahead and try that yourself. You can also look at the current typical for your electricity quote. This is just a quick launch bar that just lets you know that the least expensive plans for similar quotes usually cost between 4 cents and 16 cents per kWh. Obviously, we're at 5.11, and based on that, it's a pretty good rate, and we're not over here in the red, so that's a good thing. Now, if I look up here in my effective dates, or effective best date rates, I can see that there is a price that is going to be a little higher here. Sometimes you'll see where they're going to be lower, and you can take advantage of that. So if there was a lower rate, you'd see a little red asterisk right there. So any questions about the instant quote? Because this is really just for you to be able to digest where are we in the conversation, being able to talk to the customer, explain what the rate is, what the savings is. And when I'm talking about rates and savings and contracts, I don't typically use the word contract, but I would say that, well, it looks like NG, which is the supplier, has a rate of 5.11 that provides a little over $97,000 worth of savings. And I can guarantee that rate, or I can guarantee that savings for the next 60 months. And so that's the way I would go about it. Customer says, hey, let's do it. And you click the sign up button, then it is going to take you to a page where then you can fill out all of the customer's information. So if you say, is this customer currently a TruPowur customer? Are they in the platform? In other words, this is not just a renewal, this is a new customer. No, they're not a customer. So then you're going to fill out all of their information, go through the same process as we would any other time. So that's going to make things really pretty easy for you moving forward. Any questions about that? No? Okay. So let me jump back over here. So just like we did the instant quote, adding a new customer is kind of the same. You're going to need a copy of that customer's electric bill. So you're going to put in their zip code, and you're going to put in their annual usage, whatever that is. And it's going to pull up the utility. So just make sure that's correct. And then when you hit continue, it's going to remind you and just make you aware that Encore is selected. That is the utility, yes. And you're going to hit no, that they're not a current customer unless it's a renewal. You're going to put in the customer's name, the decision maker's first, middle, last, or first and last, their position, owner, COO, or CEO, or owner, president, or whatever their position is, the address for the service address, and if their billing address is different, then you have a place to put that as well. So you're going to put in their pertinent information that to attach to the customer, hit next, and then it's going to ask you to put in all of the upload a copy of the bill and put in the ESID number or the account number. So the form may change slightly depending on state to state. Some states may ask for a customer number. Some states ask for an ESID or an account number. So whatever zip code was entered in here initially, it is going to populate that information, or the form is going to change slightly based on whatever state it is. So, but it's pretty straightforward. So any questions about entering that? And we've done that in the past, so I'm not going to go through that today, because I just want to kind of give you a broad idea as to what you can and cannot do within the platform. Let's see here. Yes, it is being recorded. All righty. Let's take a look at. So we did kind of touch on the pricing platform and a little bit about the utility audit. Here's the thing. You have to remember that when you are walking a customer through the process, something to bear in mind, and that is the utility audit is a much softer, friendlier, easier approach. And so once you open with the utility audit, we don't talk about solar, we don't talk about electricity, and none of that. Now we may bridge into that. Once we get a copy of that electric bill, then that's going to be the next step. So, and even in my conversation, and the customer is, being a little resistant because they think that I'm calling for one reason when I'm calling for another. So that's usually when I ask the customer, why do you think I'm calling? Well, you want to switch my electric account. That's not why I'm calling. But if you were going to throw the whole kitchen sink at somebody, then that's not true. But if you're calling for the utility audit and the utility audit alone, then that's not the case. So giving that person an opportunity to know exactly what it is that you're calling about on the utility audit is going to be very favorable. Let that customer know that you're calling because you're doing a 3-year utility audit, and it should be done every 3 to 4 years anyway. So when's the last time you've had that done? But open with the utility audit. Once either they have uploaded the bill or you have uploaded that bill, now you can take that information and populate that into the pricing platform. And then you can analyze and see whether there is any additional savings that can be provided for that customer at the supplier level. When you do that, it's going to give you an opportunity to where you can provide a quote for that customer, and then email that customer the quote and follow back up with a phone call. Let that customer know that you received their utility bill safe and sound. Whether you upload it or whether the customer uploads it, a copy is going to go to the auditors and a copy is going to come back to you. So you're always going to know. Let that customer know that you received a copy of their utility bill safe and sound, that the auditors are already underway. In fact, in the initial investigation, we also uncovered some additional savings in the electric account. I emailed you some information. When you have a chance, take a look at that. Give me a call. I'll go over the details, because that report is really designed to show them how much, but it doesn't show them how. And so usually their response is, well, what do I got to do to make this happen? And my response is typically going to be, well, the how is not so important as much as when do you want it to start? So nobody ever says they want savings to start later. They always want it now. So you'll go back into your back office, click the corresponding button, and the system will pull the contract for that supplier for that state. It will fill it out for you and send it to the customer for an electronic signature. Once they've opened it up, type in their name, hit enter, and approve it. It will come back and attach itself right back to the account that it came from. It will update the platform from pending to signed and send you a notification that now you have a commissionable event. So let's take a quick little peek at that process. So I've already got this customer's information open. And so, once that customer's, and I've got all of their locations in there, they're in Houston, all their ESIDs. And once it's been in the system, if I want to look at all their usage and current, then the system is going to keep track of what's going on and how much they're using live. So it's going to pull that information in. So once I take a look at this customer's account and I update it with whatever they're paying currently, set my mills to whatever it is that I want and hit update to update the platform. From time to time, you may see an advice pop up that will basically let you know that based on their load factor, what the recommendation is. And so if you look down here, you'll see that these prices are in green. That means the system is actually reading that customer's load and it's telling you that that is available. So if you find, let's see if I can find one, I don't see one. If the supplier minimum load requirements are not in sync with what the customer is actually using, then you'll see a price. And if you see it in red, just avoid it altogether. So, but once you have uploaded that customer's information into the system and decided to look at the rates, now you're able to do a quick quote. And this is where you would generate this is where you would be able to generate a proposal. And so we've gone through that in past training, so I'm not going to go through all of that right here today because we're approaching an hour and want to give people time to enjoy their weekend. But once you generate the proposal, email it to the customer, and the customer is going to open it and see that the savings is phenomenal. In fact, once you upload a utility bill, or the customer uploads a utility bill to the auditors are under direction to let me know if it's your first bill, so that I can set some time aside and walk you through this second step, just so that I know that you know, because we're kind of bouncing around here a little bit, covering a lot of different areas. So want to make sure that you have a general clear understanding of what it is you're doing, but not to worry. Based on, once you uploaded that, you can generate that proposal and send it to the customer. So now you can sort these so that I can say, okay, I want, the highest commissions at the top. I want the greatest savings at the top, or I want the longest contracts at the top, or the shortest contracts at the top. So you've got some different ways to sort that. I probably would go with the longest term contract. So I'm definitely would want a 60-month term contract at 5.582. saves that customer $134,000. That's pretty decent, since all of my deals are residual anyway. I don't care. And so I go with it. But if for some reason there was a reason that I needed that upfront commission, then maybe I would go with Hudson. So it's pretty close. And it still saves them $133,000. That's nothing to sneeze at. So, well, we have had a good day. We've covered quite a few topics. Very nonchalant, very easygoing today, not really formal, just wanting to kind of cover something. Oh, almost forgot. This is important. So our minimum requirement for a reverse auction or an RFP, request for price, is 100,000 kWh. Now, having said that, do not, don't even say because I just wanted to see, do not put a customer in the reverse auction tool unless the customer is planning to take the results. In other words, this is not a shopping exercise. In other words, we already know what the market is, right? So if the market's at 7 cents and we're doing a reverse auction, then odds are those rates are going to be better than that. So the only reason why I would put a customer in the reverse auction is to get them a much better rate than what's available via the matrix rates that are listed in the website, not as a shopping expedition. So we're not putting that stuff in there. And so if you do that and you have somebody who doesn't follow through with the contract and your ratio goes beyond 15%, that may be locked out. So we just, because you have to remember, we do, hundreds and thousands of deals with all of the different suppliers nationwide in Canada. And the last thing we want to do is lose those relationships because an agent was not really serious. They were just playing with the platform, or the customer just wanted to see what would happen. And I'll make my decision after I see what's going on. The rate's going to be better than Matrix. All right. Now, obviously, if the rate was higher than Matrix, it wouldn't be necessary to do that. But as long as the customer has 100,000 kWh annually on their electric, then you can use that tool for the reverse auction in order to put them in there. But don't use it for shopping. It's not a shopping tool. It is a measure of commitment. So that customer is committed to take advantage of a much lower rate. Whatever that is, it's going to be better than matrix pricing. So just want to make sure. So the good news is we've gone from 500,000 to 300,000 to 100,000 being the minimum kWh minimum requirement to do a reverse auction. The bad news is please do not use that for shopping. It's not a shopping tool. It's a commitment. So, all right. Well, look, we've had a good day. It is a 3-day weekend with the holiday. Spend some time with your family or friends, but most of all, be safe, and look forward to talking to you. So anybody that needs a little assistance, I'm going to be in the office for a while. Have a good weekend and be safe. And if you need me, I'll be in the office for a little longer. Bye-bye.
Today is the last Monday of May, and for Americans, this day holds a particularly profound meaning. It's the day that we remember those in our armed forces for whom have lost their lives and recognize their ultimate sacrifice and dedication to this country. This video won't promote a sale, a discount, or a grand opening. We simply wanted our customers to know that, much like you, we see the red, the white, and the blue. We know that we're here serving you in large part because of the sacrifices made by the brave men and women of the armed forces. So on this Memorial Day, we stand by you and honor those who've given us so much. Today, we remember. Thank you all for your patronage.